Thank you for supporting our channel. Thank you for supporting Wizan. Please like, subscribe, comment, and hit the notification bell for any future videos.
Thank you for coming, Zoe. Basically, just want to do a small podcast to sort of encourage more women to do it, because like you said when you came in, it is really for a lot of a certain category of women in a certain category or a certain position in their lives. It's the perfect job. There's no time to get up and go to work or whatever. You work whenever you want. So what made you want to do it, Zoe?
Well, I'm kind of going through a bit of a life-changing event at the moment.
Yeah.
And my kids are older. They're 18, they're going to uni. And I need to get a job. And I'm kind of racking my brains before what I wanted to do. And I think it's just a job that is just going to suit my personality down to the ground.
Yeah.
I think it's something I wanted to do. If I thought about it, it's in my blood, really, the driving a cab. Like, I'm kind of, hopefully, if I pass out, 4th generation.
Oh, wow.
So, like, my dad, my great-granddad, my granddad and my great-granddad were black cab drivers. And it's something I thought about in my 20s, never did it. And then it was... actually went away with some women, actually. Their husbands were cab drivers. One of them had done the knowledge, and it was like a bit of a light bulb moment. I think,
yeah,
that's what I want to do, and I'm going to be good at it. I know that I love driving a cab, you know.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
What pushed you over the edge? What sort of, there's kind of, whenever people think about doing this, there needs to be a sort of deciding factor where they suddenly realise, yes, I will do that, when other options are not really what you fancied. You could have done numerous other things.
Yeah, I think it's my personality. It's like I don't like being. My punctuality is not that great. I've worked in the city for years ago. I didn't want to get on the tube. I didn't want to travel and stuff. I love driving. I love London.
Yeah.
And I can work when I want.
And you're an Islington girl, as you just pointed out.
Yeah.
But now you're living out in Essex.
Yes.
So you'll have a small commute into work every day.
Yeah, it's about half an hour.
I was going to do a video in a few days about teaching people to learn runs again. And I was working with a student the other day, and the run I learnt was Deutsche Bank to Watling Street. So it was I think it's a missing piece or something. It's not a blue book run necessarily. And the point is to show people how to get them back, which we was going through with you the other day about getting the runs back. Because if you know the roads already, it isn't about learning anything. It's about being able to say it again. So the student that I was working with, he couldn't call the run at all, but he'd driven the run several times, and he'd said, like, I know that run. And then when you said call it, he suddenly didn't. I said, look, he was saying leave on left London Wall, left Copthall Street. I said, no, it's Copthall Avenue. Oh, okay. Leave on left London Wall, left Copthall Street. No, I just told you, it's Copthall Avenue. Okay, leave on left London Wall, left into Copthall Avenue, right into Great Swan Street. No, it's Great Swan Alley, okay. And he would keep going further and further, making mistakes. And the thing is, when we're learning a run, I often have to point out to people, first of all, try to get 4 roads. But if you can't get 4, make it 3. And if you can't get 3, make it 2. So for me, the run would have been leave on left London Wall, left Copthall Avenue. Leave on left London Wall, left Copthall Avenue. And until I can say those 2 fluently, I don't care about the 3rd. And I think people project their brains a little bit too far ahead. They think, where's the run going? No, if you can't say the first 2, don't worry about the 3rd. And the idea was as well that you keep going back to the beginning. So I would have said leave on left London Wall, left Copthall Avenue, right Great Swan Alley, left into Moorgate. And I was actually saying Bishopsgate, and he wasn't correcting me. Oh, no, I was saying Gracechurch Street. So I was saying from Copthall Avenue, left into Gracechurch Street, right into Loughbury, forward into Gresham Street, left into Foster Lane, left into Cheapside, right into Bread Street, left to right Watling Street. So the thing is, again, he's not even noticing the mistakes. People are not paying attention exactly. They're listening, but they're not getting that fluency. They're not going back to the beginning. They're not making sure they've got the first 4 roads nailed, which I hope is what you was kind of doing with those. And I had another guy come in this morning, and I pointed out to him that you must be able to call your blue book. And he said, what about the questions from the point sheets? And I said, but if I asked you the second blue book run, you can't even answer that. So why are you worrying about the questions from the point sheet? Well, they're the questions they're being asked. Yes, but you can't answer a single question without the vocabulary that is the blue book that we call. Everything stems from that. Do you have a run that you find particularly difficult, Zoe? Have you done that to Littleton Road to Haringey and Green Lane Station? That one usually is quite hard.
Yeah, that's a hard one, actually.
Yeah. Can you call that one?
Yeah.
So let's go for it then. Go on, where you go. Haringey, is Littleton Road to Haringey and Green Lane Station.
Lead by Alma Road, right Archway Road, left Stanhope Road. Oh, my God.
Oh, it's tougher than you think.
Yeah. Do you know what? I was doing them last night. It was one I had to write down to go over again.
Even I can't. I know that it's not Stanhope Road.
No, it's
Shepherd's Hill.
Shepherd's Hill. Right, I'll do it again. Leave by Alma Road, right Archway Road, left Shepherd's Hill, right Stanhope Road, left Avenue Road, forward Crescent Road. I think. Yeah, I know. Do you know what? I've just done it in my head and I know it now.
But the point would be, though, when you're working with a partner, even though I know it, we get very relaxed, and you should actually, as the partner, always follow so that you're actually not letting a mistake go by. Like that guy was letting Gracechurch Street go by instead of Moorgate. If you're listening rather than watching, you can make those mistakes. So what is the title again?
Littleton Road to Haringey Green Lane Station.
Right, okay, so I would start off with the fact that I know the first bit. It's lead by Littleton Road, right Archway Road, left into Shepherd's Hill, right into Stanhope Road. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right, okay, now I'm not completely confident it was correct, so I'll go again to make sure that I'm thinking it and it reassures me. So lead by Alma Road, right into Archway Road, left into Shepherd's Hill, right into Stanhope Road, and then left into what?
Avenue Road.
Left Avenue Road, forward Crescent Road.
Yeah.
So, again, I've added 2 roads, and again, people might push on further. They shouldn't. They should go back and make sure they can control the 6. So it'll be lead by Alma Road, right into Archway Road, left Shepherd's Hill, right into Stanhope Road, left into Avenue Road, forward into Crescent Road, and no idea what comes next.
Right Crouch End Hill.
Right Crouch End Hill. Okay, Crescent Road, right Crouch End Hill, then what?
Left Christchurch Road.
Left Crouch. You can ask for as many roads as you think you can cope with, but generally, if you really are struggling, you should only ask for 1. So Crouch End Hill is a big road, and then Christchurch Road, Christchurch Hill, Christchurch Road.
It's left Christchurch Hill.
Christchurch Hill. Is it definitely Hill?
Christchurch Road. Sorry.
Yeah,
I
see
can't
why
see
you have
my
to.
Eyes,
Yeah, I know it's small,
I
but
can't zoom in.
if we do it by memory, we make those kind of mistakes. That's why your partner should always read it, even though they might be good at it. Lead by Alma Road, right Archway Road, left Stanhope Road. No, lead by Alma Road, right into Archway Road, left into Shepherd's Hill, right Stanhope Road, left into Avenue Road, forward Crescent Road, right into Crouch End Hill, left into Christchurch Road, and then forward into Cecil Park.
Cecil Park. Yeah.
Forward Cecil Park, then
Cecil Park, yeah.
Then what?
Right Walmsley Road.
Forward Cecil Park, right Walmsley Road. Now, this is where it gets hard, and again, this is where it's important to take care of the part you've learnt. So at this part, I'd make sure I've absolutely got it before I do this next part. And people again push on when they shouldn't. So it's going to be lead by Alma Road, right into Archway Road, left into Shepherd's Hill, right into Stanhope Road, left into Avenue Road, forward Crescent Road, right Crouch End Hill, left Christchurch Road, forward into Cecil Park, right into Walmsley Road. I think I got that bit. So Walmsley Road, then what?
Left Mountview Road.
Left Mountview Road, right.
Fern Park Road.
Left Mountview Road, right. Fern Park Road. Left Mountview Road, right. Fern Park Road. Go on, I'll try one more. One more road.
Forward Stapleton Hall Road.
Forward Stapleton Hall Road. I might be able to make the end. Lead by Alma Road, and again, I always go back to the beginning, and the speed gets better, the fluency gets better. Lead by Alma Road, right into Archway Road, left into Shepherd's Hill, right into Stanhope Road, left into Avenue Road, forward into Crescent Road, right into Crouch End Hill, left into Christchurch Road, forward Cecil Park, right Walmsley Road, left into Mountview Road, right into Fern Park Road, forward into Stapleton Hall Road, left into Lancaster Road. I nearly know it. What is it?
Left Upper Tollington Park.
Left Lancaster Road, left Upper Tollington Park. Then what?
Forward Endermean Road.
Left Alware Road, forward into Whiteman Road. Oh, it just goes Alware Road forward.
No, so you're going left Lancaster Road, left Upper Tollington Park, forward Endermean Road, left Green Lane, set down right.
So it gets even easier. So we don't walk on the left anymore. Right. Lead by Alma Road, right Archway Road, left into Shepherd's Hill, right into Stanhope Road, left into Crescent Avenue Road, forward Crescent Road, right into Crouch End Hill, left into that was it, Christchurch Road, forward into Cecil Park, right into Walmsley Road, left into Mountview Road, right into Fern Park Road, forward into Stapleton Hall Road, left into Lancaster Road, and then left into Upper Tollington Park, forward into Endermean Road, left into Green Lane, set down on right. And I would probably call that 2 more times. I'm not going to. But I'd call it 2 more times because I was still having to think. So I want to call it where there's no more thinking, the pattern is there, the fluency is there, and it's done. And that is a difficult run. But the point being that people keep trying to get to the end of the run and they hadn't even successfully got to the part that they was at. So whenever you make a mistake, just keep going back. So your turn, Zoe. What's it called? Littleton Road to Haringey Green Lane Station.
Leave by Alma Road, right Archway Road, left Shepherd's Hill, right Stanhope Road, left Avenue Road, forward Crescent Road, left Crouch End Hill.
Left Crouch End Hill,
No,
is it?
right Crouch End Hill, left Christchurch Road, forward Cecil Park, right Walmsley Road, left Mountview Road, right Fern Park Road, forward Stapleton Hall Road, left Lancaster Road, left Upper Tollington Park, forward Endermean Road, left Green Lane, set down on right.
Well done. Just once more, please, and I can edit it in. because you made a mistake, and I'll do it in.
Okay.
I'll choose whether to leave your mistake in or have it in there. Littleton Road to Haringey Green Lane Station.
Lead by Alma Road, right Archway Road, left Shepherd's Hill, right Stanhope Road, left Avenue Road, full Crescent Road, right Crouch End Hill, left Christchurch Road, full Cecile Park, right Walmsley Road, left Mountview Road, right Fern Park Road, full Stapleton Hall Road, left Lancaster Road, left Upper Tollington Park, full Dendermere Road, left Green Lane, set down and right.
Well done, brilliant. Yeah, and that's it. And the interesting bit for people who are going to be watching it is that's the standard that you called out. That's the standard that you want to reach. It doesn't want to be forced. It doesn't want to be sketchy or ums and ahs. And I see a lot of people putting words in between. So it's leave on the what was the for? You know, it's leave on the left, whatever. It ain't leave on the left. And if you're doing that, it's not a good sign. It means you're having to pause and think. But that's brilliant. And you can call all your runs like that.
Yeah.
And you're nearly finished.
Well, I've got about 80 to go.
Another thing that people generally overkill on is the visualization. Now, the visualization part, people think they're supposed to visualize the roads. There's nothing you can do to increase your visualization at all other than make more visits. So if you can't visualize something, it doesn't matter at all, as long as you can say it. It's really, really important that you can say it. And eventually you go somewhere enough. And the thing people need to understand about this, so you're from Islington, whereabouts?
Like de Beauvoir, Essex
Right.
Road.
So if we asked you to picture de Beauvoir Square, de Beauvoir Road and around the area, you can. But you never learnt to do that and you never tried to do it. It's just because the visits have been accumulated and you can do it. And that's what happens with everything. And then you get these people saying, I can't visualise this particular place. And you think, well, you've been there once in your life. What are you expecting? And it's a very ordinary place. So please understand that visualisation is a non-existent aspect that doesn't even need to be worried about, because it takes care of itself as the visits accumulate. And if it doesn't, then so what? As long as you can say it.
I don't think you need to try to visualise
No.
it. It just comes.
But you see people when they're calling over and they say, no, I need to visualise it. They always call over like this, leave on the left green lanes. And then you just think, well, it's not going to get us very far. It's going to be too long to practice all the runs that you're trying to learn.
Yeah.
I think, as we said as well, it is for women in a lot of senses. It's a very, very perfect job for, in general. I mean, it just must tick so many boxes.
I think it's got to be one of the best jobs for women.
Yeah.
Especially women that have got kids and family and stuff. It's just the most flexible job ever.
How do you create a space to do another job when it's like you need that flexibility of time and space to work?
I think it's a male-dominated industry, but one
Cool,
of the
not
best
much.
jobs for women.
Well, you'll be part of a 3%, I think it is. 3% of the industry is women. And then the rest is all us guys, because we are obviously much better at it than you women.
Do you think so?
I have seen everything over the years, and there is a very, very big difference between the way the men study and the way the women study.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the women are probably better at studying, and probably why women do better academically. The men are much more nuts and bolts, and trying to do everything, trying to fix everything, whereas the women are a little bit more, will listen to a teacher a little bit more, will follow structure better, and will sit down, focus and follow the chores and do the regime a lot better. The men are a little bit air scare and jumping all over the place. And Zoe, what about you? Did you do anything before?
Yeah, before the kids were born, I used to work in the city, used to work for investment banks doing IT.
Right.
So I've got quite a sort of a logical, practical kind of things.
You're qualified in IT, or you just went and scammed it?
Well, it's like anything really. You kind of sort of just wing it on a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, because a lot more of the industries are going towards apprenticeship type educations now, where you basically work in it.
18 plus years ago, like,
yeah,
I didn't know. There's no qualifications.
Zoe, how can you encourage more women to do this?
Well, I don't know whether it's a bit controversial, but they're currently they're giving free places to Uber drivers, and you can, if you belong to certain apps.
Not Uber. So if you are on free now and you do 90 jobs a month, and it's 90 is not a substantial amount into real sense, 90 jobs a month, and they will fund completely your knowledge, pay for everything.
Okay.
So they're offering a very, very good deal. My view was always this: if I was going to do the knowledge, and I'm really, so many people try and balance a good career and do the knowledge, and it doesn't make too much sense. So for me, if I was going to do the knowledge, I think now, what is the best job I can do that gives me enough money to live on, that means I can focus the most on the knowledge. And very often back when I did the knowledge, it was shelf filling in Tesco's. It was one of the best ones you could do, because it was late at night. You filled the shelves, you got paid whatever you got paid. It was enough to do what you need, and you had the rest of the day to just focus on the knowledge, and it didn't distract you too much. So the free now thing for me was the equivalent of kind of shelf filling. If you want to do the 90 jobs a month and you're funded, they're paying for absolutely everything, all your materials, your school fees, any fees that TfL charge you, they will pay. And in return, they get from you the fact that you will do 90 of their jobs, because a lot of the apps now are having trouble getting people to cover their jobs, getting drivers, struggling to find drivers to cover the jobs. So that would be good. Uber have not done something yet, but they may well try to do something, but I don't know of anyone in the industry that would be stupid enough to touch anything from Uber.
Yeah, I think it's looking at maybe why women are not thinking about it as a career.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's that, the money. So if there was some kind of funding or something that what those companies are getting that women got. What else is there? The thing is I think what would deter women is driving I'm doing it on the car as well.
Yeah.
Drive on a moped.
Okay, it is harder in the car, no doubt about it.
Oh, definitely. But it's just a safety thing.
Yeah, a lot of women do choose to go over
there. Bike and I'm out of action for 4 months. I
Yeah.
might as well do it in the car.
So this comes back to the men and women difference in terms of your balance skills.
Well, no, I don't know. I just think it's a fear factor. Maybe if women have got a family and they've got kids, they'd be thinking about, oh my God, if I go out on a bike and I can't pick the kids up and there's something that happens to me. And I don't know, maybe
the maternal instinct kicks in.
Yeah,
whereas the man is a little bit more sacrificial. If he goes out and gets run over, it's like he's meant to die. They did a thing recently on YouTube where they go out and said, if you they asked the man, if you had to choose one of you to die for your family, who would die? And the man said, me. And then they asked the women and the children, and they said, Dad. They all said Dad. So the poor man gets killed no matter what he does. You can go away for 1.5 years and come back and you're still employed. It's quite amazing. And at the moment, they're talking about it being as busier than it's ever been, which possibly. There were some periods in the 80s where people said it was very, very busy. You do need some guidance, and I think with the modern situation, it's getting a bit easier with the WhatsApp groups in a sense, because you can ask me anything and ask others anything and get some sort of feedback. I would say listen to me more than listen to anybody else, because it can be very confusing. But back in the day, it was very difficult to be a mentor to 600 people that wanted your time all the time, at any time. And even still, I get calls on Christmas Day and Sunday nights at 11 o'clock. People will phone and just ask the most mundane questions. And you think, okay, be a little bit thoughtful.
Yeah, we've got like taxi driver backgrounds. But if there was, say, a woman that didn't know anyone or didn't have any family, I kind of sort of knew where to start, because like my dad's not with me now, but my uncle still drives a taxi. So I was asking him, how do you do this? I'm always phoning him up about stuff.
Having that is good, isn't it? Yeah. And you know from them, you know what the job is more. So I think for people outside of our industry, they really don't know really what the job is. And it's not, if you don't know about taxi driving, you might look upon it as being a little bit. I remember my father-in-law, he really didn't want me to marry my first wife. He thought I was a really low-down, low-life, unqualified. He really told me. And my first wife basically was 2 university degrees. And I was the one that earned the most money. And after a while, we kind of figured out, back then in the 90s, I was earning £2,000 a week. And he was he would build ships for the oil industry to lay cables and stuff across the oceans. His job was really high up. And then it turned out I earned more than him. Right. And then suddenly I'm not so like scum of the earth, blue collar worker. I'm actually a little bit, well, maybe it's a little bit different in London. But in the rest of the world, taxi drivers are kind of frowned upon. Here we've got a little bit more respect.
Absolutely love it. When I go out and do my runs, sometimes I get up like Sunday morning. There was the other Sunday, I was driving. It was just as the sun was coming up. It was blue sky. The sun was coming up. I was driving over one of the bridges, and all the buildings turned pink. It was just like, it was magical.
Nice.
Honestly, it was like thinking, we're living, Well, I think it's the best city in the
It
world.
is.
but-
Have you? And compared to what? Compared to Barcelona, you think it's better than
All
Barcelona?
of them.
All of them. We've got everything.
Everybody wants to come here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It is true. It is quite lovely, but it is enormous as well, don't you think? When you compare it to other cities, I mean, you know, I live abroad, and the city I live in, I laugh at people because it's a very populated city, but it wouldn't take me long to walk from one side to the other.
Yeah.
Whereas it takes an hour and a half to drive from one side to the other in London, let alone walking it. So yeah, it is a nice city.
Yeah, and driving a black cab is iconic, really. Like with my kids,
Yep.
they just they're just buzzing about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got two that are 18? You got twins?
Yeah,
What
I've
is
got
it?
twins. Yeah,
Ah.
boy and girl.
Do they look like each other?
No. Well, similar, like brother and sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they look like each other, one of them's going to be more feminine than the other, isn't it? If they looked exactly...
Well, when they were people used to say to me, I'd say that, well, they're obviously boy and a girl, and they say they're identical, and I just go, no, one's a boy and one's a girl.
That's a
When
bit
you work
different.
it out, it's like,
Yeah.
how can they be?
Yeah. My girls look like twins, but they're 8 and 10, so...
Oh, right, yeah.
What do you fancy, Zoe? You don't mind?
I don't really know, actually. I was just my uncle's black cab driver. I was just going to go with what he said because he kind of knows everything.
Yeah.
I think.
What does he drive?
Yeah.
Oh God, he's going to kill me now if he watches this. No, he's got an electric cab.
So there's only one. It's a TXE, probably.
Okay, and he rents it.
Right.
Um,
Do you know how much he rents for?
he was saying about all in. He was saying to me the other day about $330 a week.
Oh, he's got it cheapish. Yeah, cheapish. It's something like 330 to 400 at the moment. So depending on how long he's had it and who he's with and stuff like that, you might get better deals. I think if you went to rent one now, you're looking at 380 to 4
Right.
to straight away rent it. So, and the thing is, we're going to do, me and Dave are going to do a podcast about the finances of it all, because it's about £70,000 to buy the electric cab new, but it's about £70,000 to buy a nice BMW new that doesn't work for you. It's a luxury car that you drive around in. And the other thing is that £70,000 is for your shop, your business premises for the next 15 years.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to open a sweet shop, for example, it will be, rent and rates would come to about 70,000 a year as well, just a year. So you've got that every year to take. So when people do say it's expensive, I'm not actually in complete agreement with
And you
them.
could rent it out part-time, could you?
Yes, you could rent it out. And if you imagine that it's, let's just do it on straight figures. If it's £400 per week, that's £1,200 per month. The rental price is much more expensive than the buying price. If you buy it, you buy for 5 years if you make the payments, and then you've got 10 years where you're not paying anything. If you rent it, you have a lifetime of always the outgoing going out every year. So my advice is, as best you can, is to try to buy it. And then people worry about spares and repairs. The money you've saved covers any spares and repairs by a long way.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think I'd look to try and buy one.
Yeah.
It's just obviously you need to get that money, that 70 grand.
Yeah. How have you found it so far? So you've done 200 and something runs?
Yeah, at the beginning, I was like, there's no way I'm going to remember all this stuff.
Yes.
I learnt 4, and then you're thinking, I've got another 350 to go, plus all the other stuff on top. There's no way. And then I've got my books and my folders with more runs in it, and then I flip through and I think, I know them. Even my son, he's like, they're doing their A-levels at the moment, and he was doing some call-overs with me, and I rattled them off, and he was like, that's the most impressed I've been from someone doing something, you know?
Yeah.
Like how you can just kind of go over. They don't do it that often. I get my folders out and they kind of run away now.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And it's amazing that you think I can remember this, and then you're going over I'm sort of going on to my last book, and then it starts. I remember my dad saying this when he did the knowledge about it starts to kind of. Don't worry, I'm nowhere near the finished. Nowhere near, but it's starting to. You're doing one run, you're thinking, oh, that's that road.
Yep.
That links to that, and whatever, and
It starts to come together.
Yeah, a little bit, you know.
Yeah. Well, it'll come together more so when you start pointing, because you point over roads that you've been over, and you start to drive around not based on Blue Book runs. So you're going from one place to another that isn't a Blue Book run. It's just you going around.
Yeah.
And then you suddenly realise that I am not even thinking about where I'm going. I just go to the next place, and then you really know it's all coming together. But it's very interesting what you say about the memory part. I do know when we do that first run, it's about 12 roads long, Manor Station to Gibson Square. I think it's 13. And you do that and you think, am I going to remember that? I've got to now say these 13 roads and make sure that I remember it, and it's just one run. And then 80 runs in and you suddenly find, well, I can say all 80 runs fluently. So you think, well, this is really, really amazing how we soon get into it. But that's one of the keys is some people don't get into it. And I see that a lot. So you have both correctly got into the call over, you've got your fluency, you know what you're supposed to be doing. But if you don't get that part, you really are in trouble. You're basically a sinking ship that's not really going to
If you don't keep on calling over, I got a bad cold a while ago and I had lost my voice and didn't call over for like 3 days. And it's amazing how and then you start overthinking it. Oh my God, does that go to... It's like that one there. Normally I can just rattle them off, but that's one of my sticky ones that I've not...
It's the hardest run in the book.
Day.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you start thinking it and then you're like, oh God, whatever. And then you just got to keep on doing it every day.
You know, the other subtle difference between that one is I actually am for the first time putting you on the spot and suddenly your skill has to now be shown in public. Yeah. And it's like, oh, a little bit of fear factor kicks in. And then the thing that we need to realise when we go for exams is no matter how good we are here, when you apply the fear factor, you're at a different level. So if you're rubbish here, on your exams, you are going to be seriously rubbish. So you have to be your absolute optimum here because you are not going to be as good when you go for the exams because of the fear and because of the nerves and the tenseness of the situation.
And do you know what? I've just, from the kids doing their A-levels right now, I've learned it's just practice.
Yeah.
So they're sitting them like this week, but they've done like 2 sets of mock exams before it. And my son said the other day, going into the exam, it doesn't feel like it's the real exam because you've done so much prep beforehand. So you're not as... Well, I think what he was trying to say is you're not as nervous. Yeah. You're not, you know what I mean? You're not... Yeah,
and that's what we prepare.
If you've studied it, you know it. It's just being able to execute it.
And that's the other thing you hit on, the fact of in general, when you're good at the knowledge, you're not really being asked anything you didn't know. You're doing something you've practiced. So with all the point-to-point questions, there are an abundance of possibilities of the questions we can be asked. But if you asked us a blue book run, you're in essence asking us nothing because we know that. But when you ask us point-to-point, we've practiced enough point-to-point that we can see the relationship to something similar that we did before and we can put it all together and we, again, know the answer. But again, it all comes down to the volume of practice we do and the fact that we make sure we call our blue book fluently and we've accumulated enough points. So having a passion for it, have you found it's got under your skin, Zoe? Is it in your blood now to just keep doing the knowledge? You don't get tense if you have days off, like you pointed out?
What do you mean? Not what actually completing it?
The fact is, with some people, they kind of try to balance their life with the knowledge. And really and truly, if you let the knowledge get completely under your skin, it's actually better. It takes over your whole life and it's easier to deal with if you allow it to just take over your life.
Absolutely. And it's what I think I've watched a podcast from you before and it's like, it's got to be really your priority. And it's like, don't get me wrong, I still clean the house, but it's not as my normal standards. I've not been to the gym that much. You've just got to think like, sod it. I'm just going to get that. That has got to be the priority. That day, I've got to, right, I'm not going to go and clean the kitchen floor or whatever. I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm not going to do this, whatever. I'm going to call over my runs. That's got to be your first thing. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
And if you did that, then maybe you can go to the gym afterwards.
Yeah, that's it. But because otherwise you'll then make excuses and it won't happen. You've just. Put your foot on the pedal.
Yeah. Well, there was a thing with the appearances is be very, very confident with the fact that you know what you know and don't care about what you don't know. And some people tend to, again, beat themselves up with the fact that they got asked something they didn't know. What do you expect? You ask me a place that I don't know, and it could be Buckingham Palace, let's say. Well, if I haven't pointed Buckingham Palace, I've done all these thousands of things that I've done, and I haven't pointed that. There's nothing I can do about that. I can't tell you what I don't know, but if you ask me what I do know, I'm going to be on it. And that's the thing. Be good at what you've done. Always keep expanding and try and know more. Don't beat yourself up about what you haven't done yet, because you can't know what you don't know unless you get around to doing it. And in general, you need to then accept that your level of expertise, for example, now is already 3 to 4 times greater than any taxi driver in any other city in the world, anywhere. They learn less than you've already learned, and you haven't even started to be tested yet.
Yeah.
So when we look at it in that perspective, the level that we're being asked to reach in comparison, I mean, everybody knows about New York. There's no lesson at all. It's how much money do you have? Yeah. And, well, actually, it's not anymore. You sub-rent. So I have the money. I own the cab. I own the badge.
You rent a medallion,
you rent me my medallion number, and out you go.
That's why
So-
they don't know where they're going.
No, they don't know where they're going, do they? They're absolutely useless. What do you think? Do you think the system here will change because of the sat nav?
What the whole knowledge system?
Get rid of the knowledge and just replace
No,
it?
because like I put into, for instance, I always, when I'm in the car, I always put in where I am and then where I'm going. Especially because with the car, it's hard to turn around, so I'm kind of sort of looking on the map, and also I'm looking at other roads. There's so many times on the sat nav that it'd be saying turn right here and it'd be a no entry and whatever,
Yeah.
and that kind of. There's no way you can.
Yeah.
Like, I know, like I think cab drivers, like my uncle, he says that he will put in when someone asks him where they're going, because you can see the traffic now and stuff.
Yeah,
obviously.
there's some perks to it,
There's-
yes.
yeah.
But you have the power to chop and change and control
Exactly.
everything.
Well, the Manor House run, I always think it's like leave on left green lanes, right hybrid quadrant, left hybrid new park.
There's that debate, but it's the pinnacle. You could call it like that if you wanted to, but I don't think I wouldn't agree with you. So
that road's there, isn't it?
hybrid
Isn't that
quadrant is this one going up that way,
Yeah,
and
but
hybrid
that's
new
ex-
park is that one going up that way.
Yeah, but you turn into it a little bit. And
Then
it comes
you might
back.
argue that rather than doing right hybrid quadrant, it could be right hybrid new park, right hybrid quadrant. So it's a kind of a complete split of the two roads joining. And I know there's a little bit of a width. If you want to call that, you can.
I'll just go for it.
It has been said many times in the past. You ain't pointing yet either, are you? You've took the mock exam?
Yeah, I did that. I've got quite a few points, but I think that's just I haven't learned any points.
This
at
is
all.
my issue again with people pointing. So the more you relax and drive around and do the runs, the more your subconscious looks at stuff and picks up stuff without you even trying. And then let's see, by the time you finish the runs, which are hard enough as it is, you'll have a natural repertoire of points that your brain's allowed you to pick up just through the fact of relaxing and doing the stuff. And then when it comes to finishing those runs, you can now see what it is you don't know, go out and find what it is you don't know, and get some reattachment to those runs that you've only just done once. So you're getting to drive over them, but you're knitting it together in a different way. But you're also now going out to find the points that are actually in use. And this is one of my bugbears when they tell you to go and do the points at the same time. If you did Manor House Station's points, out of I think it's 12 points I have on the start of the run on mine, at this moment in time, 0 to 1 of them is asked. In the last 1 to 2 years, only one of them comes out occasionally, which was American Gardens, I think. And that's it. So if you learnt all 12, you've taken up 12 places with 12 road names. That's 24 things you've attempted to remember, and only one of them is of use. And yet you don't know Thornhill Square to Queen Square. And you're carrying the weight of this useless stuff when you're about to try to learn something that's very, very important. And the other aspect is, if you have extra capacity and you find that doing the knowledge is easy, then do another run. You've got 320 to do.
Yeah.
Do as many as day as you can and get that part finished. You have something to learn that's very specific. And then when you do go to look for the points, they're now on roads that you primarily know, so they're easier to learn and remember. But you're actually finding places of interest that are in use at that space and time that you're doing the knowledge. So many people pointing heavily while they're doing the runs that is an utter waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case no one knew that.
Learn smart.
Who?
It's what you say. It's called learning smart.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, that's
I've never heard
yeah.
that before. Yeah, it is learning
That's what
smart.
they say to the kids, because kids go and do their A levels.
Yep.
If the teacher says that that's not going to be in the exam, you'd be mad to learn it. Why would you learn something?
This was what I got it from. Basically, myself, I was an English teacher before, and it was just always this thing. I know through the grapevine what will be in this particular exam and how they're going to test you. So I make sure, and all school teachers do it exactly the same. They know roughly what you're going to be tested on. So I'm going to steer you towards it. If you're going to have a history exam and I decide that, oh, okay, it's a history exam, let's just learn about the Romans. Yeah, but the exam's going to be about the Egyptians. Then you're knackered. You're going to fail. So the teachers know what you should be learning roughly. And it is a case of that. It is learn smart. And I take a little bit of umbrage when they tell people, do the points at the same time. And the only argument they give is that if you don't do them now, you have to go back after to do them. As if a second visit is detrimental to your time and space that you're doing it in, not realising that no one drives around London once and learns it.
No.
And the stuff that you learnt when you try to pick it up at the same time, they're not telling you, they're deceiving you. It's absolutely useless. You have no idea of its use in the future. And you need to know what they're asking. And with every new examiner comes a new repertoire of what they're going to implement. Every examiner kind of uses the similar stuff that they've always used. And a new examiner comes and they bring this new stuff that you then need to learn that isn't in any of these things. It may even be that they start asking every single point in manifestation. But if they do, it goes on the point sheets, you collect it, you see it, and you can see that it's now popular, and you go and learn it. So you're absolutely right. Yeah, learn smart.
When I went for the initial TFL exam, like they were saying to me about just about what system I'm doing, and they kind of all put this emphasis on don't just learn the runs, and you've got to do the points and do the dumbbell system and that kind of stuff.
Shall I cover why they do the dumbbell system? Because basically the dumbbell system relates back to about 60 to 70 years ago, where the curriculum was that the examiners will ask you roughly manifestation at Gibson Square with a point in a quarter mile radius to a point in a quarter mile radius. So the actual curriculum was learn that, and you should be able to pass all the exams. Yeah. Then over time, the exams got harder and harder, and the questions were anywhere to anywhere and not relating at all to any blue book run. And then the points they were asking you were not in the quarter mile radius of anything, because they've lost track of the fact of where the quarter mile radiuses are. So Mr. Wilkin was recently asking lots of points in Deptford that are not covered by any quarter mile radius at all. It's not touched. So they kind of don't realise how far away from that curriculum they've moved over the years. So they're asking you to do a curriculum and they're sticking to their ideas, yet very few of them actually did that curriculum. Most of them did the curriculum of doing the runs first, but they get into the industry of being an examiner and then they actually repeat the same thing they've repeated for years. And it has gone back a little bit. There was a period under some the other head examiners, Mr. Bishop onwards to Ma'am Danvers. They decided it would be better when we do the talk, tell people they can do any way they like, but the TFL's preferred system is the dumbbell system. They started being like that, but they've lent back towards being more stronger to say to you to do the dumbbell system. The fact is that no matter how you study, what makes the difference is how good you are. So if you've studied that technique, I'm afraid you're not going to be as good as someone who hasn't. If you've studied just the runs first and the points second, you're going to be better than the person who studied the points and the runs together, and you are going to finish the knowledge quicker than them. That's it. And if the examiner judges you on your skill level, that will be the case too. If they want to say to you, you didn't do the dumbbell system, so therefore you've done something wrong, that would be terrible.
I think it's just too much. You're going out, you're doing your runs. You've got to do, first of all, you've got to do your call overs. So if you're getting you've done quite a lot of runs, you're calling over a lot, it's taking time. Like me, you do it on the voicemail, whatever, the voice memo thing, you've got to listen back to it. You know, that kind of, if you haven't got someone to listen to, you've got to go out and do your runs. Then you've got to learn the ones from that day.
Yeah.
And then
on top of that,
you've got to learn points. It's just too.
So, do you consider yourself stupid in the sense that you're unable to do this system that they're implementing? Are you not very bright?
No, I think I'm reasonably bright, but I think I've watched what you've said before. It's too much overload.
That's exactly
Why would you? You've got to break everything down and take it in steps.
See, I wouldn't. Again,
and then when you master all that, and then you've done your blows, then take on something else.
Yes. Step by step, build up. To me, it makes no sense whatsoever to do it. And I personally would probably give up the knowledge within about 2 days of doing that.
Yeah. It's like learning anything. You learn how to cook. You learn how to make the sauce, how to make this, make that. You're not going to... Trying to do it all together, you just be, oh my God, you're just going to burn everything. It's going to be like nightmare.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make that. I'm going to learn how to make that. And then when I've done it all, I'm going to bring it all together.
Yes.
So and you do it in
system
stages.
overload, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just system overload,
So,
and you can't function.
Yep.
No.
To that which is the point. Add to that another discipline that you got to study. You got to now look at the points you've been picking up. Try and remember what roads they were on, and have a feeling for them.
Possible.
Yeah.
I always used to compare. The metaphor I used to use in all the talks was: you are going to go to a foreign country where you don't speak the language, and you're going to do a university course in that foreign country. If you go for your first day at university without being able to speak the language, you are going to be seriously mentally spun out. So your first job is learn the language, then start the course. So there's a process of what needs to come first. And with the situation in London, if you knew the roads, places of interest are on those roads. So knowing the roads makes learning those places 50% easier. Also, if you think driving around London once is enough, then you really are a genius. I mean, you're far better than I'll ever be. That going back and having an extra visit to actually do the points is reinstating what you've done. And then on top of that, knowing exactly which points to look for, not going to look for any old points, looking for the specifics. A guy said to me today, why do I put the filters to 20 times asked and this year? I said, well, if you want to, you can put them to 0 and find everything that's been asked ever. That would be about, in that particular app, it was about 7,000 points. When you put the filter on, it takes it down to 2,005 or 3,000. So you can find the most popular points, 3,000, that have been asked this year more than 20 times, or you can find the stuff that's no longer asked as well because you think you're being more thorough. It makes no sense to me at all. All right, so we concluded that really and truly you should do the runs first and then do the points second.
Yeah, I think when you become overloaded or overwhelmed with anything, then you're more likely to give up.
More likely, yes. There's a load of people that do that. It does annoy me that they keep emphasising it, really. They shouldn't emphasise it at all. They should say, go away, come back when you're good enough, and that's it. Their job is to examine you. It isn't to teach you. That was my job, and that's what we do as a profession. So, Zoe, can you call Page's Walk to St Martin's Theatre, please?
Can you?
I probably can now. I've learned it. I'll go next.
Yeah.
I'll go next.
Leave on left Grange Road, forward Bermondsey Street, left Long Lane, right Great Dover Street, forward Marshalsea Road, right Southwark Bridge Road, left Southwark Street, forward Stamford Street, comply Tennyson Way, lead by Waterloo Bridge, forward Lancaster Place, forward Aldwych, left Drury Lane, left Longacre, right Endell Street, left Shelton Street, left Upper St Martin's Lane, right Cranbourne Street, right Chancross Road, right Lichfield Street, right West Street, set down on left.
Okay. It says my turn. Okay. Can you ask me what the title is? What run is it? So
Page's Walk to St Martin's Theatre.
okay. So leave on left Grange Road, forward Bermondsey Street, left into Bermondsey. Oh yeah, Long Lane.
Yes.
Okay. Leave on left Grange Road, forward into Bermondsey Street, left into Long Lane, right into Great Dover Street, forward Marshalsea Road, right into Southwark Bridge Road, left into Southwark Street, forward Stamford Street, comply Tennyson Way, lead by Waterloo Bridge, forward into Lancaster Place, forward into Aldwych, left Drury Lane, left into Longacre, right into Endell Street, left into Shelton Street, left Upper St Martin's Lane, right into Cranbourne Street, right into Chancross Road, right Lichfield Street, right West Street, set down on left. Okay, I did it. Was I correct? The thing is, again, that's what you're finding, the recapping, bringing things back. Now it's refreshed. Yeah.
I am really loving that.
And it's something that you need to understand is all kind of a short-term memory aspect. So I'm around this more, so I should be able to pick it up quicker. But a cab driver who's not been around it would find it difficult to do that and get it back. So we don't keep this ability to say roads. It doesn't stay with us. We can relearn it quicker than most people, but it doesn't stay with you. That's why the seriousness of always calling over every day, never miss a day. Don't allow it to slip because it starts to get slower.
Don't use it, you lose it.
Absolutely, yeah. Was you going to say something, Zoe?
Yeah, I think when I call over, when I don't think about it, it just rattles off.
Yes.
When I was that's what I was doing. I'm trying to think it then and visualize, and then I'm like, well, I know where I'm going, but
the thing is as well, it's the small aspect of the pressure.
Start picking it,
That's all it is. It's a little aspect of pressure and be as good as you can. Have you done any point-to-point yet?
I do a bit with my daughter. I've got the board in my bedroom, and then she'll go to me, take from here to here. That's just her doing it, and then she'll trace it along, and then I kind of have a look at how, just roughly if I'm going in the right direction.
Well,
What sort of points have you been doing, Zoe, just out of interest?
What did she do once yesterday? She did Harrods Village to Harrods.
Okay, it's not a difficult run.
No.
Oh, but it's a difficult run if Hammersmith Bridge is closed, isn't it?
Yeah,
Hammersmith Bridge is closed. Yeah, sorry. So but I'm thinking it's very close to Hammersmith Bridge, but you had to do it something different. Yeah, okay. Putney Bridge, still not a difficult run. Go on then. Did you do it?
Yeah.
Okay, where you go?
Well, it's Trinity Church Road.
Yeah.
Yeah. So leave on left Castle Nor, forward Rocks Lane.
It would be if it's from Harrods Village, it would be leave by Trinity Church Road.
Oh, you would say like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So leave by Trinity Church Road, left Castle Nor, forward Rocks Lane, bear left Mill Hill. It's forward Mill Hill Road.
From Rocks Lane, that would be a left in the middle.
It would be left.
Yeah.
All right, left Mill Hill Road. And then I would say forward or bear left Lower Richmond Road.
Don't need bare left. So if you're ever in doubt,
right,
you don't need. You can just make them forwards because
Okay.
even a very, very hard bare left, which we could say left on, is still a forward because nothing stops you from doing it. You just forward. So don't stutter and splutter or think about it or think it's important.
Right.
But it would be forward Lower Richmond Road.
Okay, forward Lower Richmond Road. Left Putney Bridge, forward Putney Bridge Approach, forward Fulham High Street. I think there's a roundabout, or I'd go right into New Kings Road, forward Kings Road, left Hortensia Road, right Fulham Road, forward Brompton Road, set down and right.
Oh, well done. Except, is there no U-turns on the Brompton Road for setting down Harrods? So
that's what I wanted to ask you, actually. If you're coming up on the other side of the road
Yep.
like that, obviously Harrods is the other side of the road. You can only pull over on the left. You can't go over to the other side of the road.
no,
So do you have to get the cab turned around?
Yes, on that particular one, but I also might be slightly out of date, but the Harrods, if I remember correctly, has some no U-turn signs right along it, so there's no way of going over to the right, so you mustn't stop the flow of traffic. So on that one, you need to think about your approach so that you are going to be on the left, and what you would do is not necessarily go to the Brompton Road entrance.
The main big corner entrance of Harrods is, what one's that? Is that Hands Crescent?
Hands Road. Hands Crescent is a no entry. You can't drive down Hands Crescent, but you could when we did the knowledge.
Right,
So that would be
that's
why.
probably I'm getting confused then.
But because you came up from Brompton Road, you can get a right into Drayton, left into Walton Street, forward into Walton Place, forward into Basil Street, it'd be on the left. You come into the back entrance.
Yeah. Right.
So you'd start to accommodate that in your answers. And this is why we do point to point, is we can learn little things like this.
Yeah.
And when you learn it now, because we're specifically doing it for this particular point, you remember it for the future. But when you point the point, if you try to learn all this stuff and say, oh, I've got to learn all this for this particular point, you have no idea of its usage ever. But when you practice point to point and you're aware of what you're trying to do and why you're trying to do it, it's much easier to learn. You're learning it for a purpose. So again, when people point, they overpoint the information around it, not knowing whether it's ever going to be needed or used. But that was very good. Can I ask you one more?
Yeah.
This is a standard question for beginners that have done about 80 runs, and it's just to see how well they've got some sort of orientation and problem solving. So it would be Wormwood Scrubs Prison.
It's to Cane Road.
Yes, to Battersea Bridge.
Oh man, I hate round there for Cane Road. I haven't got a clue.
I'm not a fan of it up that neck of the woods either.
No, I'm so bad over there. Battersea Bridge.
There's the thing. This is why I wanted to ask you this particular question. So when we're leaving Wormwood Scrubs Prison, a beginner tends to think of where am I going, whereas I don't. I would think, do I want to leave on the left Duquesne Road or the right Duquesne Road? That's the only question I need to answer. So if I leave on the left Duquesne Road, it's going to take me down to Wood Lane. If I leave on the right, it takes me back towards East Acton Lane or whatever it is, Old Oak Common Lane. So what do you want to do? Leave on the left or leave on the right?
I want to leave on
Wood Lane.
You want to go towards Wood Lane, yeah.
Yeah.
So
just
leave
go
on the
in that
left Duquesne
direction.
Road, takes you to Wood Lane. Once you get to Wood Lane, you now have a choice of turning left Wood Lane or right Wood Lane, going towards Scrubs or down. And then you just think, well, okay, what would be the best one?
Right.
Yeah?
Right.
Right Wood Lane. When you go to right Wood Lane, you now get two choices, is to go all the way down to Shepherd's Bush Green or to get onto the Westway. So Shepherd's Bush Green or the Westway. Two choices. Just pick one. They're both correct.
Where was we going? Battersea Park
Battersea
Road.
Bridge. Battersea Bridge.
Battersea
Battersea
Bridge.
Bridge.
Oh, I think I'll take the Westway.
Okay. They're both correct.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. You could use either one of them. So you take the Westway, then what happens? Be careful how far you take the Westway, because you'll end up at Marylebone, or you get off
Bishop Bridge Road.
a bit far.
Too far down.
When you got in that Westway,
Else Court.
you want to get off straight away. How'd you get off straight away?
Oh,
The West Cross
I
route.
can't see it.
Comply the Westway roundabout, lead by West Cross route, takes you down to Holland Park
I was
roundabout.
about to say that. Oh, I wish I'd said that now, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's if you want to do that way, but you also could have done Wood Lane, left at Uxbridge Road, you're at Shepherd's Bush Green, you're also at Holland Park roundabout. So they're both going to get you in a similar position.
That's
Right,
like
from
my nemesis, that area.
anywhere that
I
you
know-
hate.
Yeah, I know the route, but the blue books, I don't know it.
All right.
I don't know.
Can you get me there then? Holland Park roundabout to Battersea Bridge?
Let's see, Bridge.
Again, you're starting to think Battersea Bridge. Do this. You have two choices. Leave by Holland Park Avenue or leave by Holland Road. That's all it is. Every time you do these point to point, don't think about where you're going. Think which one of those would roughly be a better choice. Holland Park Avenue, Notting Hill Gate, Bayswater, Oxford Street. Holland Road, Addison Crescent.
Oh, Holland Road.
Hmm?
Holland Road.
Holland Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're making you was on 28, so you got a sense of direction. You're a complete beginner.
Yeah.
So this is the point of when you're learning point, you're making good choices. When you're doing point to point, don't try and think of the route, think of the choices, and even make bad choices and live with them, and it teaches you that wasn't the way.
Okay, so lead by Holland Road. I don't know, I'm just going to try and go for a run here. Left Addison Crescent, right Addison Road. forward Warwick Gardens.
Yeah.
Left Pembroke Road.
Yeah.
Right Earls Court Road, left Cromwell Road. I don't know where I'm going.
Okay.
I don't know how I'm getting to Battersea Bridge.
So at some stage, when you get to the point you just did, you need to think of the choices again. So at Earls Court Road, if you do the left Cromwell Road or the forward, you weigh up your choices again. So the left Cromwell Road will take you down to the Natural History Museum,
Yeah.
which doesn't seem to be getting me any nearer to Battersea. So that's what I tend to do. I think about that quickly, and then I think, well, the other one, I can't really think where that goes. Let's say I have no idea where the other one goes. But the one that I do know where it goes doesn't seem to go to Battersea. So therefore, by default, the one that I've got no idea on might be the right answer. Always just tossing a coin.
Right.
So what would give you forward if you went forward Earls Court Road, then straight down?
Edith Grove, is it?
This is where I think I can still call it. I think it's not yet Edith Grove. If you go Earls Court Road forward into
Redcliffe Gardens.
and then Redcliffe Square.
Redcliffe Gardens.
Okay.
And then you come out to Talgarth, right? No.
Edith Grove.
Edith Grove.
Okay. And how are you going to get onto Battersea Bridge now from there?
I don't know. I've got to say I don't know.
Okay, so there's another aspect to it. So the other thing we generally do, this is to teach you a little essence of point to point, is we think slightly backwards. Will I go to Chelsea Embankment, Shaney Walk, Chelsea Embankment, turn Shaney Walk and turn right on the Battersea Bridge? There's a part-time no right turn signal that's mostly on. So, or will I hit Beaufort Street and go forward onto Battersea Bridge?
Right.
So, okay, my decision of thinking backwards means I'm going to do Beaufort Street and go forward on the Battersea Bridge. And to get to Beaufort Street, how do I do that? Well, we can get into the Fulham Road or the Kings Road and we can pick it up.
Yeah.
So we'll just do left Kings Road, right Beaufort Street, forward Battersea Bridge, done.
Okay.
Now you can call it again.
Right, so I'm leaving... Oh, I can't even remember. On the right...
And left Duquesne Road. Leave on left Duquesne Road. So
Left Duquesne Road... I'm trying to think where Wood Lane... We're from Wood Lane.
right Wood Lane, all the way to the bottom to Shepherd's Bush Green.
Right. And then I don't know how to get to Shepherd's Bush to the Westway from there.
You don't need the Westway. If you do the right Wood Lane, the next left is Uxbridge Road, which is Shepherd's Bush Green, all the way to the bottom. Have you made that connection before?
No.
Okay, because this is what I wanted to point out about point to point. You do know Uxbridge Road, don't you? Shepherd's Bush. You done that on a run yet?
Yeah, kind of. Not that much. Yeah, I have.
What happened is when you're doing point to point is you would have learned maybe Uxbridge Road going into Shepherd's Bush Green and maybe going up towards Notting Hill Gate, Holland Park Avenue. There'd be some run that's doing something like that. And you would have done a Wood Lane run, but it might have ended or it might have come off the Westway. I think it does. Westway does a right onto Wood Lane. But you're now taking an element where it might be missing, might be the piece from the Westway to the piece it's Uxbridge Road. But the name is in your repertoire, but the join isn't. And then when we do point to point, this new join that we're making from there to there is added to our repertoire, and a new run then expands and we grow on things. So when we're doing point to point, it's just about making different kind of spider web connections that we didn't have.
Yeah.
You've got the blue book worked out, but now we're going to make different connections and build upon the run. So now you need to experiment with that point to point. And my tip is, don't try and think of the run. Just think of the choices and guess. Choice, then guess. And see where you end up. You'll end up in the middle of nowhere. Go back, correct it, guess again. Don't think that we all see the whole run from start to finish. We only do that when we actually do know the answer. We see the whole run from start to finish.
Okay.
I mean, I generally wouldn't think...
Vauxhall. I've never been over Vauxhall Bridge as much in my life as doing my Blueprint run. I think I've only been over it once in my life. I've been there over 100 times now.
It does get you. It really does get you.
And you're calling really well. And don't be afraid about point to point. It's the way we begin at it. The very first thing I would tell people when they're beginners is you have to be happy that you're shit. You are no good at this. And it's this thing that you've done the blue book and you think you're supposed to be good at it. No, you've done the blue book. That's step one. Now you'll learn how to do point to point and develop a new skill. And every single person I've ever seen do it first off is rubbish at it. Right. They can't do it. So build up, keep experimenting with it, keep playing with it, but work on that idea of not trying to think, I don't care about which bridge I'm going over because the bridge will unfold as the run unfolds.
Right.
So as you're doing the run, you're going to take the bridge that's come your way now. Okay. Maybe the wrong bridge, but if you're trying to pick the bridge from 3 miles away, then you're, again, probably going to pick the wrong bridge. Yeah. When I am picking a bridge, it's because I absolutely know the bridge, because I know the line, I know the angle and everything else. So when you're a beginner, you don't know none of that. So just experiment. And when you get the run wrong, you will remember what was wrong about it in a way that will help you always for the future. That you'll know that if you went that way, it takes you there and it's not right. It really stays with you. So wrong answers are just as educational as the right answers. And it's the old adage of learning by your mistakes.